Is private practice worth it? Is it the best financial choice for you? Is it more lucrative than working for an institution? Does it offer more autonomy? I have 3 main points to discuss here, and be sure to stay until the end for 2 big surprises I encountered on my journey to answering this question. Hi, I'm Mike Marcus, an endocrinologist and founder of MD Efficacy, where I promote efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity for physicians. I received a question about starting a private practice, and the one asking the question was talking about the details of what should we prepare if we want to start a private practice. First, I want to share a fundamental step before I answer that question. The first question: what were your thoughts as a trainee? Talking about me, what were my thoughts as a trainee about different clinical paths? During my residency and fellowship, I observed that many of my colleagues chose private practice, which seemed to offer them more autonomy and significantly higher earnings. I noticed that some opted for academia and learned that they earned much less. Additionally, others went to community institutions where it appeared they had a reasonable income but little autonomy. In summary, at that time, money and autonomy seemed to favor private practice. At least that was my perception back then. Was this true? Let's see. Talking about the second question, how do the numbers and finances work in private practice? There are foundations to understand. There are 2 primary payment models in the United States healthcare system: work RVUs and collections. While it can be more complex than this, let's focus on the broader picture. The work RVU system, or work relative value units, assigns a specific value to a physician's work for various clinical encounters and procedures. This is known as the work RVU value. For example, a level 4 established CPT code or charge is assigned 1.92 work RVUs at the time of recording this video. I covered this in a previous video entitled RVUs Explained. The link is below and it will also be available at the end of this video. Once you have the exact values for what you frequently do and your average patient volume, adding them becomes straightforward. This applies to clinicians working for institutions, and each specifies work RVU rates for different specialties, which can vary significantly. When you multiply the RVUs you generate by your work RVU rate, you arrive at the revenue for that period. This reflects the payment model when it is based on 100% productivity. Regarding collections, private clinicians submit various charges to the contracted insurance companies, which reimburse invoices based on the pre-agreed rates. The total amount collected is what matters for reimbursement. Despite not being compensated by them, many private clinicians view work RVUs as an objective metric for assessing productivity that is universally understood among clinicians, and they continue to monitor these values. If you like the content and want more, please like and subscribe to this channel. Also share it with whoever may benefit. Let's now get back on track. Different medical and surgical specialties have varying revenue structures. I also believe that procedures generate more income, which is why procedural specialties often earn more than the purely medical ones. Just view the Medscape average for different specialties and you can see that procedural specialties earn much more. I was quite surprised to discover that this belief may not hold true, and many of us might be unaware of the reality and the details and the reasons for this wide difference in revenue. When examining the work RVU model, it becomes clear that procedures generally receive lower compensation compared to standard clinic visits for the same time interval for the clinicians, not the institutions, but for the clinicians. And this also holds for imaging studies. For instance, if I see an established patient for 15 minutes, I earn 1.92 work RVUs. In comparison, performing a thyroid biopsy during that same time period, or even sometimes 40 minutes if bedside pathology is involved, it results in only 1.5 work RVUs if it is one nodule, while conducting a thyroid ultrasound can yield 0.54 work RVUs, and it takes 15 to 30 minutes. How does this apply to gastroenterologists, for example? A diagnostic EGD provides 2.09 work RVUs, and it takes 30 to 90 minutes. A diagnostic heart cath offers 4.54 work RVUs in 60 to 90 minutes. What about surgeries? A robotic adrenalectomy generates 20.7 work RVUs in approximately 3 hours, while a total thyroidectomy brings in 15.04 work RVUs in roughly the same time frame. When comparing this to 4 moderate complexity established patients, along with the G2211 code that was started in January 2024, it totals 9 work RVUs in 1 hour, and this comes to 27 work RVUs in 3 hours, exceeding all the previous procedures. This excludes the unpaid clinic visits before and after surgeries as part of the operative packages, and also it excludes the high complexity charges that we can get to charge for eligible patients who come with complex issues. Facilities get paid a lot for these procedures though, but nothing will trickle down to the physicians unless you have a share in these facilities, and many of us do not. On the other hand, private practices drive revenue from collections, with many of these procedures and imaging studies offering additional reimbursement, not as the technical component, which is separate from the work RVU. Consequently, they often provide higher compensation in private practice than the work RVU model. However, your total compensation will depend on the primary focus of your practice. The RVU model offers significantly better compensation for clinical encounters than for procedures. You must review your calculations and decide what is best for you. There are great opportunities to generate revenue in private practice. If the practice has a sufficient volume to support a lab or a relevant imaging center, it can serve as a valuable source of income. Hiring advanced practice providers can also increase revenue. However, it may take several years to join a partnership to leverage these benefits for you, and it is not always guaranteed. Like any business, effective management can determine its success or failure. It can make it or break it. We learn medicine well during our training, which begins in medical school and culminates in residency or fellowship. However, starting a private practice requires an entirely different skill set. We don't receive education in business, accounting, marketing, law, patient satisfaction, human resources, managing employees and contractors, or even being handy sometimes. I love entrepreneurship, and several of us are particularly gifted in that area. I'm simply noting that we did not receive sufficient training for these aspects, and there will be a learning curve, which is important. Managing a private practice can be extremely rewarding and fulfilling for those who do it well. So here I'm not discouraging you. I'm really pushing you to understand what you are heading to first before you take the first step. But definitely it's very rewarding. Let's shift gears and talk about tax benefits here. Owning a private practice offers many advantages, including deducting various expenses, such as many of your bills. Sometimes you can hire your kids as well and give them good reimbursement, which can get to be tax deducted. You can deduct your phone bill, you can deduct your car, your gas, you can have a home office, you can do many things that are very beneficial from a tax standpoint. However, these benefits are not exclusive to private practice. If you have a side business, which many of us should consider, you can also take advantage of similar deductions. So while it's a valuable addition, it's not solely limited to that type of practice. Additionally, you will likely be responsible for paying self-employment tax, which can be significant. Your revenue is important, so you should do your math before deciding whether to pursue private practice or seek a position at an institution. If I were in your shoes, I would calculate the RVU values for the commonly used CPT codes in your specialty, the average work RVU rate, and the typical collections for what you frequently do. Complete your homework first, and then you will have a clearer understanding of which path is right for you. Working for an institution can be financially beneficial for some, while it may be the worst option for others. Private practice can be an obvious choice and a no-brainer and the best route for certain specialties, but not for all. Only you can best assess your situation and specialty. There's a lot to talk about from a financial standpoint. This is a good highlight of the main points. If you're interested in getting good tips and tricks, go ahead and sign up for my email newsletter by visiting www.mdefficacy.com, and the link is below the video as well, and you will get beneficial tips and tricks. Now, let's jump to the third point in today's video, the concept of increased autonomy. In private practice, there is definitely a lot of autonomy. You can hire who you like, fire as well, decide which vendors you will go with for your electronic health record, choose the insurance companies you contract with, decide where to establish a practice, and decide how you design your practice. There are a lot of advantages to some, but disadvantages to others. These are a lot of advantages to some, but disadvantages to others. If you don't like making all these choices, you will still have to go through them. Even if you procrastinate, you will have to do them eventually. I will use a harsh word here, and please forgive me for that. I truly believe that being in control is a delusion. We all went through the COVID pandemic when we learned we don't have that much control over many things. Even if you have control over your private practice, we don't have control over many other things. You can see all the red tape from different insurance companies. They continue to decrease the reimbursement, add red tape with prior authorizations, medications that continue to get more expensive, adding a financial strain on our patients and limiting our options, and a lot of paperwork that we have to go through. Also, some patients have decided not to show up, resulting in decreased reimbursement and many other things we do not have control over. I practice at an institution and it is academic. Yet I have a lot of autonomy in what I would like to control. My leadership is great and I have a lot of flexibility when adjusting my template. I agree there are many things I don't have control over, but I truly don't want to control them either. Let's put it that way. We get to choose what we want to control, with the understanding that there is a lot of space for negotiations, a very important skill we need to learn. To conclude this section, you need to decide what you truly want to be in charge of and your priorities. If you want to be the sole pilot and control every detail in your practice, then a private practice is the best option for you. If you would like to focus on the medical aspect and leave the non-medical to others to control, from that standpoint, being hired can be a very good option. Also, during the interview, you can get a sense from the physicians over there and the management of how much autonomy they have and what we can and cannot do. This may be a good way to get a sense of whether this will be a good fit for you. Now let's talk about the big surprises. The first big surprise for me as an endocrinologist was that establishing a private practice was a financial loss for me. And that was a big surprise, but this is how the numbers, as I calculated, came up to. I would love to hear how the numbers work for you. Please leave in the comments here if private practice or being hired will be better for you and why. The second big surprise was how far fewer vacations a private practitioner takes while earning less than an employed physician talking as an endocrinologist. I would also love to learn if you're in private practice, how many vacations you can truly take off while being off of any in-basket responsibilities or other responsibilities. I truly would love to hear your thoughts about that. And if you are a hired employee for an institution, share your thoughts with me as well. To finish here, private practice can be a great option, and it may be the best for you if you do your math well. So please do that. Now, as promised, check this video out here to better understand the work reviews and how they work. And check my link down there to find useful books to read and also sign up for the newsletter. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.